Welcome to Marketing Strategies with Audrey Kirchner, sponsored by Inkyma, taking your small business to the next level with proven creative solutions designed to grow your awareness and connect to your customers. Now, here's Audrey.
Hi, this is Audrey Kirchner, co-founder and chief marketing strategist here at Inkyma. Inkyma is a full-service marketing agency bringing that big agency process and feel to small businesses. We do marketing strategy, branding, website design and hosting, content marketing, search engine optimization, social media, and digital advertising. To learn more about what we do, ask us a question, or schedule a marketing evaluation for your company, go to our website. It's inkyma.com. That's INKYMA.com. If this is one of the first times or the first time that you're listening to the show, welcome. All of our previous shows are up on our website and on a podcast, so you can go back and listen to any of them at any point in time or even go and re-listen to them. You can find us on Apple and Google Podcast, Spotify, and Amazon Music and Audible. So today we have a really wonderful treat. We have my good friend here, Cassie Smith, with me. She is the owner of True Nature Roofing. So Cassie, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself.
Hey, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Cassie Smith. I'm the owner and president of True Nature Roofing here out of Colorado Springs. We are your woman-owned and operated roofing company, servicing all of El Paso, Pueblo, and Teller County.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to this one. Because I know we've had a lot of different conversations about all sorts of things, but I don't know if I ever asked you like how you got into roofing.
That is a really funny story. So, I didn't come from that background. My dad used to own a very large, waste removal company here in Colorado Springs. So I grew up watching him run these, mega businesses. And, I always looked up to that and wanted to do something like that. When I was in high school, I decided to do a program called AVP. So I learned how to do trade work, for hair. So I went to school to get my cosmetologist license. And so that was my background. I did that for 9 years. I thought that was going to be my path for my whole career. I had, dreams and aspirations to do everything in the salon industry. Well, one day when I was like 26, 27, I had this like epiphany that I wasn't doing what I was meant to be doing. And I've been doing something doing the hair for, 9 years at this point. And I was just getting kind of bored and tired of it. So I just, as crazy as everybody thought I was, and I kind of thought I was crazy too, I stopped it. And I wanted to find something that brought me, that sparks that joy and, got me out of my comfort zone, and I learned something new. So I didn't have a background in construction. I didn't have a background in any of this. I went to work for a electrician, just doing his business development, office, clerical work, that type of thing. Worked for him for a short amount of time. It wasn't a great experience, but through him, I got to meet my mentor, that got me into the roofing industry. And when I left that job and went to work with my mentor, I pretty much bothered him for about 3 months to take me seriously and teach me what he knew about the roofing industry. And after, being really consistent with him, he buckled down and was like, all right, I'm going to start teaching you. And so I went to work for a roofing company here in Colorado Springs with him. And he didn't own the company, but we were sales associates with them. That was right when 2018 storm hit really bad. And so that's where I got all my on-the-job experience. So that was a lot of fun. And then what ended up happening was I was learning so much. I was having such a great time. I really enjoyed helping customers. I think that was the most rewarding part of that was to take, our customers that were going through something kind of traumatic and help ease that and make it comfortable for them. And so we were rocking and rolling, and a few weeks went by, and I get this call from my mentor telling me that the man that we went to work for, he ended up taking all the money all the contracts that we turned in, all the money, and skipping town. That was super traumatic. And I went into savior mode, and I looked at him and I was like, we're going to start a roofing company. And he just looked at me like, oh my gosh, you're so naive. And I was, because I was so new, but I wanted to take care of my community, and I felt kind of responsible, even though I wasn't the one that took the money and left. These are my people that I was taking care of. So I needed to do something. What ended up happening was my mentor kind of went into freak out mode. So he he kind of fell off the bandwagon for about 2 weeks, and I went into let's figure out how to make this work mode. And I ended up meeting a gentleman. I have 2 small children. I was a single mom at this time, so I used to take him to Chick-fil-A to play all the time. And I met a gentleman there that I saw on his shirt said True Nature Roofing, and I asked him, oh, you work for a roofing company? And he goes, I own it. And I go, well, if you're not, are you having lunch by yourself? I would love to pick your brain about how you started your company, because this happened. I told him my story. I was like, I think I want to start my own roofing company. I'm brand new, but I've already worked for 2 contractors at this point, an electrician and a roofer, and I'm not impressed. I've ran my own business for, 9 years, and I know I can take care of people better than that. So he explained to me that he was actually from Texas. Him and his partner, they started the company in 2015, and they were ready to kind of close up shop and head back to Texas. I guess they're having some family issues or whatever. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. Me and my partner were just talking about either folding up the company or selling it. And I was like, okay, give me your card. And then later that day, I believe it was the same day or the next day, I went to a barbecue, and a really good friend of mine, and he was asking me, he's like, how's roofing? It looks like you're killing it. Like you're like, looks like you're having so much fun. I was like, I am. But then I ended up telling him what happened just a few days before. And then I was like, I think I'm just going to start a roofing company. And I found this guy. I have my mentor that got me in it, that has experience. Like we could pull off of a license with him. And I found this guy that's wanting to unload his roofing company. I said, now I just got to figure out funding. And he's like, I've always wanted to invest in a roofing company. I'm in real estate. and he
Talk about serendipity.
Yeah.
Like all your stars just aligned.
Yeah, it was
That's
really
awesome.
strange. So I really tell people the industry picked me instead of me picking the industry.
That's usually when the best things happen, is when things pick you and you say yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I mean, by the time we got that bad news to about, I think it was 6 or 7 weeks later, I had the keys to a roofing company, and I really,
that's so fast.
It was really quick. So, the first couple years was all about just finding procedures and processes, and we do good work and getting out there marketing, and finding what works and what doesn't work. So it's been definitely a journey, and I'm really, really, fortunate that I got chosen to be in this industry, because I see that there's a lack of women influence, and there really needs to be more women influence in this industry, because we communicate really well, we are more organized, we can handle processes really well. So I think one of my goals is getting into this industry is to open up the doors for more women to get in the industry as well.
And I think that's so great. I think the big thing in you and I being moms is that there's that certain level of compassion, right? And you said it perfectly. It's like all these people in 2018 had these horrific things happening, and you empathized with it, right?
Yes.
Because that's what we do, right? The kid falls and you're like, oh, that must really friggin' hurt. Let me go help. And people feel that. And I think that's what they want. Plus, my guess is in your industry is that a lot of times you're dealing with the woman of the house, the homeowner, because again, when you run a house, that's part of your job, is making the telephone calls and coordinating and that sort of thing. So, and in the past, I've noticed that women like dealing with other women on certain levels about certain things. So I think that's a win-win. So how long have you owned True Nature?
I've owned it since December of 2018. So, I'm about to come up, 3 years now?
Yeah,
So
almost 4. It's 21.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's been a blur.
Well, 2020 was one of those years where you just want to hide under the pillow and go,
yeah. So 2019 was our first really solid year, and we did really well, even being the new kids on the block. And then 2020 came around, and that was just we overcame and adapted, but that was just a funky year for everybody. And it was 2020 was a good year to get our processes and just see what worked and what didn't work, and run it that way. So.
And process is so important. I think because you have a business development background, plus you've owned a business before, people don't realize you don't just wake up one morning and go, hey, this is the exact way to do it and it's going to be perfect. No, it's trial, it's error, and then it's tweaking.
Yes.
Constant tweaking. Even after 10 years in business, I'm constantly tweaking because things are changing. And you got to kind of pay attention to that. You never put anything on autopilot.
No, and I'm learning. I'm still, every single day I learn something new. So that's what I love about my job. It gets me out of my comfort zone every single day. So that's one of my, I appreciate that about this and this industry and my job. And I get to help people in my community. That's why I get up, and this is why I do what I do. Because, it gives me purpose. It's something that's bigger than myself.
Yeah. And that passion helps you get through and do more things, because there's days where you're tired or you got to focus on something else, and you always pull yourself back. And it's that passion for why you do what you do that I think helps business owners be really good at what they do, especially small business owners. So you've had it for 3+ years, going on 4. When you took over, what was the first thing you changed from a awareness and marketing perspective? Because I like to say marketing is really just awareness. When people know you're there, they understand who you are, your values, and they say, hey, I want to do business with Cassie. It's the awareness. If they didn't know you were there, they wouldn't know they wanted to do business with you. So what'd you do first when you took over from an awareness and marketing perspective?
Yeah. So in the beginning, we were kind of just throwing money at certain things and seeing what stuck. And I quickly realized that was not the way to go. Trying to sign up for all these different things. Colorado Springs is a little big town, and relationships, and if people know you, that's what gets companies and small businesses rolling here in Colorado Springs. So one of my first things that I did that was very helpful was I joined a BNI, and I've been with that group for about 2 years now. So the development that I've had through the BNI, it really got me in the realm of doing marketing, network marketing, and how important that is here in this region. And then that's opened up all of my spaces of getting into a lot of different groups of marketing. I've developed a lot of great friendships, because at the end of the day, people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust.
Absolutely.
And I'm a relationship builder. That's really important to me. So it was very natural for me to get into that realm and build it that way. And once I realized, like, stop throwing money at things that we don't know that's work, and focus on, like, your return on investment on building relationships with other companies here in town, other people. I work a lot with insurance agents, real estate agents, property managers, so getting in the realm of those people that and developing relationships with them, and not so surface. Like, I'm become these people's friend, and at the end of the day, we're all able to help each other out as a community.
Yeah, building relationships over time, that's the right way to do networking. And I had a whole nother show and we talked about networking. But the one thing that I think that people are inexperienced networkers forget is that once you build that relationship, people have to have a way of referring you. A lot of times they'll hand out a business card, but in today's day and age, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll refer people to you on social media. Hey, there's all these boards out there. They're asking for referrals. We see it a lot in BNI, right?
Yes.
You're listening to Marketing Strategies, and today we're talking with Cassie Smith, the owner of True Nature Roofing, a women's owned roofing company, and we're talking about networking and social media. So let's talk a little bit about your Facebook page, because I did, go and check it out and everything. And you have over 2,000 followers on your Facebook page.
Yeah, we worked really hard on that.
That's not too shabby, my dear.
Thank you.
That's
yeah,
pretty good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we worked really hard on that. I have somebody that helps me with manage our social media, which is really important. That is the one thing that I did invest in that has definitely been worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
But that's really what we do. That's kind of all we do right now in terms of marketing.
Well, that and your networking.
And
networking is a marketing tactic.
Yes,
the two of them dovetail beautifully.
Yeah.
Was my point earlier.
Yeah. So we've been working really hard on brand recognition, and I'm super fortunate because we have a really great following, and it's really cool because there'll be other groups in the community groups that are asking for roofers, asking for people that do repair work, and we'll get mentioned, on average like 10 to 20 times, depending on how big the post is. So people know who we are, and the more relationships that I build with people, the more they come like our page, and then they're able to shoot our name out to whoever is needing our services. So that just gives us a one up, I guess, with our competition.
Yeah. Well, it gives you social proof and credibility because, like you said, you get mentioned a lot because of the people that know you. And then when people click through that badge tag that Facebook puts out there to your site, your page is done really well. Like, it's set up properly. Your about is nice. Your cover image is good. And then, you're posting pretty often. And that's where the branding comes into play, because when someone that doesn't know you, Cassie, goes to the page and says, wow, they've got a lot of followers, they're posting a lot of information, it lends a lot to the credibility. So you said you have someone doing the work for you, which I think is amazing. It's really, really good because being consistent on social media is the most important thing. How often is this person posting for you?
They're posting 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay, good.
So and it's on her. I just basically give her some topics I want her to talk about, and she goes and figures it out from there. And I've really enjoyed working with her and having her. She's been managing our Facebook for about 2 years now, so we kind of have that
you got a
relationship flow where if there's a special I'm running or whatever, I just give it over to her. She does all the I don't really have time being the business owner, wearing a bunch of hats that I do, to focus on the content. I just shoot her some ideas and she handles it for me. So yeah,
that's really good. And I like the way she's doing it because it looks really professional. That's one of the things I noticed. So what kind of things do you like to post about? Talk about topics, that sort of thing.
Like maintenance, what to look out for, how to pick a contractor that'll work with your insurance, because a lot of what we do is probably 90% of what we do is insurance work and restoration work through insurance. So it's really important to know who to choose, and make sure they know how to work well with your insurance company. And we post about even simple stuff like, when to know when you need to get your gutters realigned or, cleaned out.
But you know what? That's not simple because I have no idea what an unaligned gutter looks like.
Yes.
Or that it needed to be realigned.
Yeah.
I only align my car. I
Yeah.
don't align my gutters.
And every few years you should be really getting a roof tune-up every couple years. And that just means having a service professional come out and take a look at your roof, make sure it's all in good shape, caulk around any exposed, areas and just make sure, protect you against leaking. Being in Colorado, the elements are really harsh here. So it's really important to do roof maintenance every 2 to 3 years. And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
So,
I love the educational piece. When we do social media for clients, we do like a 3-to-1 ratio. We do 3 educational posts to 1 call to action. Like you're giving them all this great information and then you're asking for the business, which I think is a wonderful way to do it.
Yeah. And then, and as of recently too, we're trying to really push the woman owned and operated because I'm realizing how rare that is.
Yes.
After getting into being in the industry for a few years, there's not very many women in this industry and not very many women that are owner operators. So I'm like, all right, I think that's one of the things that we're really going to start pushing on because it makes us a little bit more unique.
Yeah.
And people remember us, being woman owned and operated. So I think there's a lot of people
definitely want to differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Plus, I think you're inspiring other women who may want to get into the construction industry for whatever reason. Maybe their fathers were in it, their brothers, they want to be part of the legacy and they just feel like, well, that's not a place for me. When in reality, any place is a place for a woman that if that's where they want to be.
Yeah, and that's a huge goal of mine. I want to build my business to a point where I'm working on it, not in it, and that's one of my main focuses is about getting more women into the industry. I also want to focus on getting more young people in the industry,
yes.
Kids right out of college. I'm 30 years old, and we really got beat into us that college. If you didn't go to college, you weren't going to be successful.
Oh yeah.
And I went to trade school for doing hair, and I had plenty of success doing that. And then I tackled getting into the roofing industry, the construction industry. And I want to teach young people that, male or female, that there's plenty of things that out there that don't require you to go to college, and that you could be successful in. And, you have other options. If that's not the route, you can find success in other places that not just college. And I'm not knocking college. I think there's some people that need to go to college, but
people have passions to work with their hands, like woodworking. I mean, you and I have talked about this. My son, he's a pastry chef. Like he loves working with food. His thing is like he hands somebody food and he just sees the love on their face. That's where his passion comes from. So why should he go to college to do something else when clearly this is where he wants to be? So I think I agree with you. I think, college doesn't necessarily have to be for everybody. If you want to be a doctor, please go to college.
Yes,
we would all appreciate that. But if you love working with your hands or you want to do something in the home construction industry, then the trade schools are fantastic for that.
Yeah.
So I think it's balance. And, it's like you got to kind of know where your passion lies. Because then it's all fun and games, no matter what you're doing, right? You just love what you're doing and you're having fun and you're working with people.
Yeah, I think we were kind of sold like, we had to kind of live up to a script of, I have to go to school, I have to go to college, I have to get married, I have to go do this job for 40 plus years and then and then I retire and then I die.
Yeah.
And that's not really the truth. There's a lot of other options out there. Or, I started my career in hair at like 18 years old. And when I was 27, I realized I don't want to do this anymore, So, it literally, you can change your mind or recreate yourself or reinvent yourself as many times as you want.
Anytime you want.
Which I think is super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. And I think if you have a mindset of that, then you're always going to be successful because then you see the doors that are opening before you, which is what you did. You didn't say, oh, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to go own a roofing company. No, you're like, oh, look, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity. I'm going to grab them and I'm going to go. And I think and it doesn't matter what you're doing or who you are, if you follow that, then you're always going to be successful.
Yeah, and I struggled in school, so I always thought like, oh, I don't like learning new things. But once I became an adult and realized, especially getting into this industry is a big eye opener for me. And I was like, I really love to learn. And then through learning it, I was also realized I really love to teach too. So I think that's one of my passions down the road, that I want to build my company to a certain point where I can step back and then I could teach others how to do that, so they don't have to go through as many struggles as maybe I did as a new business owner, and especially new business owner into a new industry.
Right.
So I would love to have opportunities to take care of people that way too.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, you and I talked about this. That's the whole reason why I started doing the show and the podcast, is that not everybody's ready for a marketing agency when they open their doors, right? They can't afford it. Yours was the perfect example. You were like, well, we tried a bunch of different things that they didn't work. Imagine if you had to pay someone to try those on your behalf. It would have cost you 3 times as much. So what I want people to do is when they're trying to figure out their thing, at least they're getting marketing advice from a good source, right? That they're getting helpful information from like current other business owners in different industries like yourself, from me, from everything. And then they can build their business that way and then turn it over like you did with your social media when you don't have the time to do it yourself anymore.
Yes.
Like that's my vision, is that all businesses get to kind of go through that cycle until they're ready to hire a marketing company.
Yes.
And so hopefully the podcast helps them with that.
Yeah, it's super cool. I'm really, and thank you so much for inviting me on this.
I love having people come in and share their business experience because I know folks are out there listening and they have all the same doubts that we have. I mean, I've been in business 10 years. You've been in 2 different businesses over the last, 14, 15 years. And you always have that moment where you're sitting in your car going, am I really doing the right thing here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not an entrepreneur if you're not on a roller coaster of emotions, because some days you feel on top of the world and other days you want to.
Should I have taken that job?
Yes.
Did I bite off more than I could chew? I really want to take a nap right now, but I can't,
Yes. It's like constant. It's constantly having to deal with your self-worth and worthiness and let go of those self-doubts.
Absolutely. And most business owners that I meet and when I talk to them, they are subject matter experts at what they do, right? The small business guys, they don't just buy a business and hand it off to someone else. They're like you, they're like me. And where they really need help is telling their story and getting themselves out there, because most people are like, well, I don't want to toot my own horn, but in reality, to do business development the right way, you have to. You have to tell people what you're all about and that sort of thing. So it's a real push-pull, and it's nice having a third-party person come in and do that on your behalf sometimes.
Yeah.
Or someone tell you, you know what, I think you are really good. And you're like, shoo. Okay, good, because I wasn't so sure.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, it's 100% true.
So I just want to flow back a little bit to the social media topic and talk about, so you're getting all these referrals and leads because of being consistent and having this great social media following. How do you follow up with all those leads? Because everybody wants them. A lot of times they don't know what to do with them once they get them.
Oh yeah. So we have a CRM that we run all of our stuff through, which is super important just to keep track of all your client leads.
Yes.
And me and my team are able to communicate on every single lead, make sure that there's multiple people, ready to catch the ball if it falls through the cracks. So yeah, we reach out Usually it includes doing inspection, and that's whether we find damage or we don't find damage or whatever. It's just keeping, communication clear with the client, telling them when we're going to be there, being there on time, just doing what we say we're going to do. Yeah. We really are on the not over promising and under delivering, and being there and actually doing what we say we're going to do, which is not hard to do. It's communication and organization, and that's very important to me. So we have our system that we, and that took a long time to figure out which way worked and which day didn't work, because there, of course, being a business, there's some things that fell through the cracks, but we took those learning times for like when the ball was dropped to, resituate and be like, okay, how do we not do that again?
Right. You learn from the mistakes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And sometimes it's down to there's a million CRM systems out there.
Yes.
And sometimes you need something complicated and sometimes you don't. It's not like you have 15 business development people you're managing.
Yes.
Where you need a big Salesforce automation system. And then some people, they might need something just as simple as a spreadsheet. So you got to use a system that works for your company.
Yeah. And I inherited the CRM that came with our company. So I was kind of learning. It was my first, introduction to that, and learning how to use that system. And now I'm like getting more comfortable that I switched everything, online, where we're doing contracts online and e-signing. And with COVID, that kind of forced us to change a little bit. So, I'm really glad we invested in that, and because that's what keeps us rolling, and when we're able to keep everybody,
That's organized. The only way business rolls in is if you actually convert the leads to sales, and that's usually a big drop-off point that I see. So I just wanted to finish up with that. So before we wrap everything up, because I know time goes by so fast, any last thoughts of words of inspiration or anything you want to share with folks before we finish up?
You know what, guys? If you can do whatever you want to do, just put your head to it, even if you don't know what you're doing. Because when I got into this industry, I had zero clue. I literally had to self-teach, learn, get myself out there, make myself uncomfortable. So if there's something that you're wanting to do, but you are holding yourself back because you're not sure if you can do it or if it's a big jump, just do it. You will thank yourself later, and getting the uncomfortable helps you grow. So if any words of advice, it's that, believe in yourself, and you can make things, you'll surprise yourself on what you can do.
Absolutely. I love that. You will surprise yourself, because I surprise myself so often from where I've been to where I am now. And so that's perfect advice. So Cassie, how do people get a hold of you if they want to get a roofing inspection or if their gutters are unaligned?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can give us a call at 719-694-9136. Somebody at my office will pick that up for you. Or you can reach us on our website, truenatureroofing.com, and that's TRUE natureroofing.com.
Thanks, Cassie. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here.
So here at Inkyma, we like to give back to the business community as well. I provide a free 45-minute consultation to any business owner, regardless if you're looking for a marketing company or you're just looking for advice or you need someone to tell you that you're heading in the right direction. We can spend that 45 minutes on any topic that you want. Just go to my website, inkyma.com. That's INKYMA.com, and click on the marketing evaluation button in the upper right-hand corner, and then pick your time, and you're on my calendar. Maybe you just have a quick question, or you want to suggest a topic for us to talk about on the show, or to bring in a specific person from a business category to kind of hear their inspirational story, just like we did with Cassie. You can throw that in the contact form as well, and I'll respond to you. So if you found today's show inspiring and helpful, think about what other business owners may also find it inspiring and helpful, and then share the podcast. Wherever you listen to it, just get others to follow it as well. That's how, we're helping the community so that more business owners can get more value from this information. So that's it for this week, and have an amazing day.
Thanks for listening to Marketing Strategies, sponsored by Inkyma. Online at inkyma.com. Listen to Marketing Strategies every Saturday at 7:30 on KPPF.